So if we were to look at the areas of personal development, human psychology, spirituality, and health and longevity, and ask ourselves, what is one of the biggest stumbling blocks or holding patterns or blockages that really drains our energy and keeps us stuck in place, and really can sometimes give us the sensation of, getting in our cars, turning on the ignition, flooring the gas, but also flooring the brake at the same time, to where we're kind of moving forward, but we're really fighting against ourselves the whole way and not really achieving much efficiency or economy in our efforts. So that's something I've been thinking about a bit lately, and what the subject and topic of this video is. So on the big picture, the big thing that we're talking about is the human-centered view of the cosmos, or the human-centered paradigm, which specifically relates in a few different ways and plays out in allowing us to take on sort of beliefs or poison arrows or spells that don't really work and that really just keep us constrained. So that would specifically look like things such as, there is no help, I have to do it all alone, there are no options other than, what I can imagine in my mind. And we've all had experiences like that where we're going through a situation, or we're trying to do something, or wanting to make something happen. And usually we feel all of these things. Well, I have to do it by myself. There's no help. I don't know what to do. How's this going to happen? It's impossible. It's really hard. It's going to take a long time. I don't know if I can do it. Only options I have are A and B, which I can see right here, and that's all there is to it. Or worse yet, we just feel like, well, there's nothing I can do, so we just lax into complacency or apathy. So that is really what we're talking about here, and specifically how that relates to personal development or growing consciousness or health or longevity, or however you want to label that. And if you notice and pay attention to how you feel when you have these sorts of thoughts and beliefs, it doesn't really feel that good. It feels heavy, it feels sort of tight and tense, and really makes our posture go from being open and sort of flexible and fluid to being more like this. And it really has that sensation. People get really depressed, what happens? People feel uninspired, what happens? All these emotions, we say, oh, it's just a heavy emotion, it's a tight emotion, it's a tense situation. Well, that has a physical and obvious counterpoint, which is in contrast with some more empowering or sort of free-flowing or harmonious ways of looking at it. So what we can do to sort of move away from that kind of human-centered consciousness, or that human-centered poison spell and arrow that we're putting on ourselves, is to look at things like, maybe there is something I can do. Maybe there is help. Maybe there are solutions. Maybe I don't have to feel this way. Maybe I don't have to invest in this emotion. Sometimes just having that aha moment of a possibility can be enough to shift our minds and to create a different state in our body and allow us to access different parts of our psyche. Because if you look at these two things together, they have different feeling qualities in the body. When you feel like, maybe there's something I can do. Maybe this can happen. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do that. Maybe I can feel better. Maybe I don't really have to feel that way. That feels way different than, well, there's nothing I can do. I'm on my own. There's no help. All I can do is A, B, and C, and that's it. Which happens, if we're, again, dealing with a situation that we want to create, or we're feeling a certain way. And commonly people say, oh, well, I'm coming down with something. Oh, I feel like I'm getting sick. There's nothing I can do. I guess I'll just have to get sick. When in reality, there's a lot of things that a person could do. Whether that's, just a cold or a flu or some other sort of condition. There's a myriad of different options. So one sort of frame of mind really limits our possibilities and creates more tension and tightness and stagnation in the body, whereas the other creates more opening and more of a sense of fluidity. It really opens our mind to be able to see and acknowledge potentials that we may not really be able to access. And again, it's saying, what? Maybe there is help. Maybe there are solutions. Maybe I can do something. Maybe I don't have to feel this way. Just that one simple little shift. And it's not something that we're just keeping all in our head. People lie to themselves all the time. I am positive. I am happy. I am healthy. When in reality, they're not. It's just all stuck in their head and they're just trying to lie to themselves. Sure, there's mental parts, but really it's more in the body. It's more of a feeling state that then can manifest mentally. It's really more so where we want to focus our energies and our effort. So for clarity, when we're talking about help, we can label this and sort of try to symbolize this in many different ways. If people want to take a sort of a spiritual spin on things or an esoteric side of things, you call it, your guardian angels or spirit guides or, interdimensional beings or synchronicity or serendipity or magic or manifestation. Or you could be more psychological and just say, well, you're retraining your brain to see potential where maybe it didn't see it before. Because psychologically, we're taking in so much data all the time. Our nervous system is processing so much information that we can really only see and acknowledge a small little piece of what's actually going on. So it could just be a simple reframe where we see something that's been there all the time, we just didn't really realize it. Or it could be accessing our intuition or creativity or inspiration or a flash of insight or an aha moment or kind of a gut instinct or a feeling or a dream. It could be so many different things. It could be a conversation we overhear. It could be meeting the right person at the right time. It could be so many different things, but that's not really the important part. That's not the important thing to get caught up on. It's more so bringing it back to the more empowering sort of beliefs and views that we have and how those feel. And remember to tap in and pay attention to when this sort of worldview is going on in my head, how does that feel? What does this do to my body? When this other one is going on, how does that feel in the body? And then pay attention to that, allow that to be your guide. Rather than just thinking about things you read in a book or thinking about things someone said, no, come back to the present moment, pay attention to your body, and use your feelings and that whole side of intelligence which we so often overlook and ignore. So hopefully that's been helpful. It's a very important, timely subject because, we're all humans, we go through these things. And this information is important and very helpful to come back to and to remember. So if you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.